What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mongols. I am Mike. Joining me is Steve, Mondo, Josh. The Hounds just put 5 past the Oakland Roots, which is something we had been hoping for a very, very long time. And I think that deserves a much earned let's go! So much to talk about in this one, guys. As I mentioned, not only did we sort of end the scoring drought, but we got 5 in total. First off, welcome to everyone who's watching live. Feel free to leave your thoughts on the game in the comments. Maybe we will read them on air. Josh, I know you've been itching for since May to do this.
Yeah, right? It's been a while.
Yeah. There it is. Victory beverage. Oh, and
Hounds victory beverage.
Very nice. Very nice.
I felt like it was important to actually go the full way. And
I need to shut up and just let the ASMR happen.
Right? There we go.
I will say, I'm finding it a bit ironic that our last win was May the 4th, and this is the season that we invite Mondo to join us on air. Like, is there some coincidence there or not? I don't know.
Wait, when was it around the beginning of May that we started looking for more people? I'm just kidding.
Steve, how's it going, man?
Great. Yeah, I mean, last night was a blast at the stadium. Today, got to catch up with a friend that's been out of town for a little bit, and then got to walk with Rory in. Got some stuff done around the house. Watched a little bit of the Euros final. Caught up with my sister for a little bit. So, good day, good weekend. Yeah.
Good. Mondo, I just saw Josh take a swig, so I'm going to pass to you. How are you?
Oh, I'm awesome. Today kicks off the wife's birthday week. Her actual birthday is not till Friday. So we'll celebrate it Friday and possibly Saturday if I can convince the Hounds staff not to mess it up again.
Yeah.
They messed up the last birthday I gave them. I'm calling them out right now. I asked for somebody to be called Laura the Architect, and all they said was, "and Laura." So complete fumble. I'm disappointed. So
are you talking about like on the big screen? Is that what you're talking about? Or
on the big screen and when they announced it. They didn't even announce her name the first time they said it. It was the second time they went through birthdays that they actually said her name. And I was like, wow, what a kick in the teeth.
You have really strong feelings about this.
I would say.
Listen, we also hadn't won a game in a while. So.
You should just threaten to not wear the suit if they don't get it right, because I think the PR of you being there in the suit has done more for them than, not.
I mean,
so.
No offense to the Hounds office, but I wear the suit for the players.
Oh, look at you. Good man.
All right, well, you could still do something cool, though. You could, instead of doing the dance, you know how you usually do the dance? They put you on the big screen. You could just like stand with your arms crossed, just looking angry, menacing at the camera.
Helmet.
Yeah. Instead of looking menacing, your arms are crossed. It's fine.
Yeah, but good. It's the wife's birthday week. We had her family over, so that was a good time.
Good. So I got a question for you about that. You've been wearing the suit like to every game since you built it and whatnot, right? Like, do the players even actually know what you look like?
Yes.
Okay.
So at the start of the season, at the Meet the Players at the beginning of the season, Danny actually talked about how Danny Griffin specifically, it was actually super meaningful to him to have some Star Wars in the stands because it's one of the ways him and his dad connect. And I was not expecting that. And actually, that was a sentiment reflected in several other players as I talked to them about wearing the suit and stuff like that. So actually, that was that was actually really touching for me because, it's a great non-soccer connection for a lot of people to have. Just, hey, there's somebody out there who has a really similar interest, and it's here represented in my day job, or it's here represented in so
that's super cool.
Yeah,
super cool.
It's a Pittsburgh thing, it's it's the Pittsburgh way. It's a big city, but a small town.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Josh, the top of your shirt keeps peeking out at everybody. Do you want to lean back and show them? Oh, you're rocking the Kerr shirt. It's fantastic.
The Kerr shirt has his face on it. I thought it would be appropriate to wear this shirt today since he was just on the Mount Washington giveaway thing that they did. Kerr, Kenny, Bob, and Lily all being on the Mount Washington monument. Yeah. So
should we talk about that any further, or should we just let that be?
I mean, it'll be forever tied to the game we got 5-0 against Oakland.
This is true. So.
Yeah, it does it look kind of silly? Yes, but at the same time, I had to have it. I have all of these behind me. I don't know if you can see them all, but the stadium replica, the bobbleheads, all that. So, I mean, if there's a giveaway tchotchke type thing, I'm collecting it for the Hounds. Yeah. So,
well, good. Nice. Guys, let's talk about the game. 5-0 win. We've been saying for literal weeks now that it feels like all it was going to take was one goal and the floodgates would open. I don't know that I was expecting the floodgates to open to the tune of 5-0. I was thinking 2 or maybe 3, but we got goals from Etu. Etu scored twice. Mertz, Suber, and Kenny. And I think one of the big things about this team is that this wasn't against some scrub team. Literally going into this game, Oakland's manager was named coach of the month. Oakland was ranked number 3 in the power rankings for the entire league. And they basically had beaten Louisville 1-0, Tampa 1-0, and Sacramento 3-2, all in the span of the past month. So this is a team that was kicking butt and taking names with some of the best in the league. And so to hang up 5 on them, and at one point, I put down in the notes, in the 76th minute, Oakland had an expected goals of 0.03. So I think they finished with 2 shots on net all game. To hold them to nothing while we put 5 behind them is pretty friggin' collective, or pretty friggin' remarkable. Sorry, I saw Liz's comment calling out Josh saying, "Who's collecting it, sir?" I'm guessing that Liz is the one standing in line to
I have to man the merch tent. I'm sorry, I can't stand in line. I sling merch for the Steel Army.
So I'm sure we have lots of takeaways. Whether even it's just this is amazing. Let's just go around the horn. Steve, give me a takeaway from this game.
Junior and Robbie, amazing.
Yeah. I'm going to go a little bit more into detail about the first goal with Robbie, because I thought this season a lot of people have been, ragging on Robbie, well, the whole team really, about their performance. But Mertz especially, I feel like has been getting, some ridicule from people, and that play was. That footwork from Robbie was just amazing. It was so cool to see. It was in what was even better. So the first half of the game, I hung out near the bar section, the other side of the field, away from the Steel Army, mostly to hide from the sun. So I'm over there watching the game from that side, and I see the footwork happen, Robbie do just all the fancy stuff, and then the crowd reacts to that. So before he passes the ball, they're all just on their feet cheering. The crowd's sound went up. And then when he got the pass off, and then the goal obviously erupted. But it was so cool to actually see the crowd get into that and recognize that, and not just be we're here for the goals and that's it. So they saw it, they recognized the talent that takes, and they appreciated it.
Robbie was playing like a man possessed. I know that the man of the match went to Etu, and rightly so. He got 2 goals. Steve, you talked to him after the game. We're going to try to get that video up maybe tomorrow. great game from him. But we had talked about how we thought what it would take was literally somebody putting this team on their shoulders and just saying, I'm going to make this happen. And I saw flashes of that from Robbie playing almost more like a number 10, which we've been saying we need somebody to play more like a number 10. He literally he was going to will it into an existence. And he got when we got the PK, my immediate question was, who's going to take it? Because Danny Griffin has been taking them and he's out. Kenny wasn't on the field. So who you're going to have take it? And so Robbie Mertz stepped up. And to put even sort of more emphasis on the idea that, when I talked to Rob Vincent this past week, I asked him about Oakland and he said, we're not really worried about Oakland. Like, we're worried about us. We know the stuff that we need to focus on. We need to just finish connecting the dots. And if you look back at the highlight of Robbie taking the pen, he almost doesn't even look at the keeper. Like, he's purely focused on, he knows where the ball's going to go. He knows where he's going to put it. And that's what he's going to do. And the keeper's not going to save it. And so my one thing was, I noticed his head was wrapped in the first half. Did he have a head injury, or was that like a fashion thing? Everybody's nodding their head. Yes.
I can actually speak to that one. So he still has his staples in from last week's head injury, where he had the head-to-head collision. And per rules, not just league rules, but soccer in general rules, if you have staples still in, you need to be wrapped. So that's kind of the standard. So yes, so his staples are still in, so he was wrapped. that's the bottom line there.
There was talks afterwards that he has to keep a headband from now on, though, so it might become a fashion statement. Maybe not that one, but if he plays like that, like, keep that head wrapped.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Might have to. I mean, he was growing out the facial hair, so he might have to grow out the top head hair.
Yeah. I talked to Robbie, a few weeks ago for the pregame episode, and we talked a lot about this. Like, it's just going to take somebody, and you could tell he was wearing the pressure more than really any of the players that we've talked to. I kind of want to talk to him again this week for the pregaming and just sort of be like, how you feeling, man? Like, how's it going? And just sort of see, what's going on there.
I was going to say, I can't think of two players I wanted more involved with the goal that broke the duck than Robbie in it too. Because both of them, both during games, after games, especially with Danny out, have been the ones who've been the most upset that they haven't had a result. And you can see that, like, anybody who's been there after a game, you can see a twos still upset, still wants to go over the game. Like, he wants somebody to chew the stats with. Like that's his. He exists in that 90 minutes, and nothing else matters.
Yeah.
And so, especially for him to take two from this game, I could not have picked a better pairing for the first goal, and I could not have picked a better person to get to.
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, and that's his first career brace as well. I mean, and he was like, I asked him about it before, like, going up to the post game stuff. And he was just like, he's like, yeah. I mean, I just had a score, right? Like he was like, that wasn't even a big deal to him. It was more like I had to find a way to score for the team, right? Like, and that's awesome to see.
Yeah.
And that's almost been his mentality for the past, like, 6-7 games since we've last scored, has been like, I just need to be like, somebody just need, and just like Robbie's been internalizing that, he's been internalizing it as well. And I also want to say, for a player that young, for a player to be that new to pro, to be that, like, I can kind of see what Bob was seeing. Like, I understand his vision a little bit more on that front, because he put the team on, the two of them. Also, I need to see more of that from Robbie, because I thought only Danny could do that kind of stuff. But, like,
could we?
I don't think there was a player that Danny didn't break their ankles on that play. Like, he dribbled past their whole. This is like FIFA Messi.
Yeah. When I went back and watched the highlights again, like, from watching the goal, like the build up to that goal live, it was hard to see from my angle because I was up in the booth at the time. But then I watch it live and see it like from the side camera right there, right? And it's like, not only does he beat those two defenders right at the 18, he goes between them, keeps the ball, and still makes a like sublime pass to Sample, who and right, like sometimes like I think it's really easy to knock Kizza because he doesn't have the end product. But if Kizza is not where he is there, I don't know that Etu has the time and space that he has for that shot, because you could see like there's two defenders and they both hesitated just a little bit because they saw Kizza and they saw Etu and they hesitated on their play and nobody shut him down.
And Sample's there too. So so Robbie passes it to Sample, Sample passes it to Etu. And the fact that Sample was that quick with it, because it basically was just like as soon as the ball got to his feet, he had it passed over to Etu. So I mean, what I wanted to see and what we did see in this game was the whole team felt like they were in on it. It wasn't just one or two players are having a good game. It was the whole team felt like they were pressing and, honed in. And the fact that we had, the 5 goals and 4 of them from different people is great. And it just, all around, I feel like this is what the team needed as far as getting that chip off their shoulder and feeling that weight get lifted.
Yeah. Do we need to talk about how Etu and Robbie both made it seem so effortless to jump into the crowd? They both jumped, and I was like, wow, they got ups. Like, I was not expecting either of them to get as high as they did.
I actually thought, like, when I was rewatching the replay and seeing, I'm like, oh, okay, first 2 celebrations with the Steel Army. You love to see it. So that was definitely a nice release and a nice, everyone in the whole stadium just kind of like the pressure's off.
Yeah.
And the rest of the game was fun.
I will say, though. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Mondo.
I was gonna say, I'm glad they did not take their foot off the pedal.
Yes.
I was after that second one went in, I was so worried this would be Bob as usual, right?
Bunker down. Like,
bunker down. Yeah. Lock the house.
Yep.
But it was open season.
Here was the exact opposite. If you say his name enough, he appears. So here, just hold on 1 second.
The energy in the group was to stay after him, even at halftime. And even late in the game, guys were focused on making sure we got a shutout. So that has to be more of a constant. It's nice to kind of turn the corner, but it's one game and it's only 3 points. I'd take 5 overs off 15 points in the standings, but it kind of dispels the myth that we can't score goals. Can we score them consistently? If you get into dangerous areas and put dangerous balls in the box, good things are going to happen.
That goes on for about another 45 minutes because it's Bob.
The blades of grass must be bent at exactly 82 degrees.
We're sitting up there waiting for Bob to come last night, and soccer rabbi Mark Goodman is joking. He's like, I just asked Bob. So Bob, thoughts on the game? He's like, and I don't have to ask anything else because he's just going to talk for so long that all my other questions are going to get answered. And that's how I feel most of the time, right? It's like rarely do I even get the chance to ask a question because anything I'm going to ask, Bob has answered by the time I get a chance.
Is that our camera angle or is that the team's camera angle?
That's ours. That was Steve.
Yeah. That's
the
cool.
Camera on.
All right. I was just like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, listen, I want to continue to talk about all the highlights from this game, but leave it to Bob to sort of temper expectations. His note, and the reason why I play this when I did, Mondo, you mentioned, Bob or taking our foot off the gas, and how that would feel like a very Bob thing. And Bob just said there that he would take 5 1-0 games because that's 15 points versus a 5-0 game, which is 3 points. So. Yes, I think we need to temper expectations, but I do think that part of the reason why we're so happy is because we did realize we can score. So, yeah. Josh, give me a takeaway. Thoughts on that?
I think Liz mentioned it in the chat a little bit ago, but Paul their keeper. Man, he was not having a good night. Not having.
How did he not get sent off?
Well, okay, so I got some more clarity on the second part. Watching it live, we were all extremely upset when Paul delayed the game the second time and was
hold on. So what the first time was like there was some dust up in the box and he's falling over and like yelling at the ref and it's a whole
complete dive. He completely dove and made it look like
he dove several times.
Yes.
That was just the first of several dives.
Yeah,
which is why I'm surprised he didn't get sent off.
Josh, detail what you saw the second time.
So the second time live, like we're all the way on the other side. So like we don't know why the ref is just allowing him to delay the game. And like it looked like he was throwing a temper tantrum. He throws the gloves off. He throws a shoe. You're like, what's going on? And then, I don't know if they had said it on the live broadcast because I didn't watch it on the broadcast, but his shoe fell apart. And he showed the ref his shoe fell apart. There was like a giant hole in the bottom of his shoe where the cleats are. And the ref didn't seem to care. It was just like about ready to like whistle for the game to keep on going. So then he gets upset. He throws it, like splits it apart, throws it, and then throws his gloves off. They try to give him a new pair of cleats. The first pair they get him are someone else's cleats and they don't fit. So he puts them on. They don't fit. So then they have to go to the locker room, get his spare cleats or something. I don't know if it was someone else's who had the right size, and then get those over to him so he could put those on. So that's why the game was like, 70th minute around, or like the 65th minute, and then it took forever.
Yeah, it was right after the fifth goal. Yeah.
So that's what happened. For people who were at the stadium, was wondering what was going on. That's the take I got. Is that what did they mention all this on the broadcast? I don't know.
No, they just had the camera angle where we could see him throwing a shoe, and then there was two new pairs of shoes. There was a new pair of shoe at his feet, and he started to put them on, and then he ended up with shoes that weren't white like the ones that he was trying on. I was like, "What? How many pairs of shoes is he trying on? Is this like a fashion show? What are we doing?"
Paul Cinderella. Couldn't find the right pair of shoes.
So if there was ever a situation of the away fans got under somebody's skin, it was him, because in the first half. There was a particular moment, and he did not even get actually EJ got talked to for this, but it was him, a defender, and EJ were all saying it because EJ got under his skin so well. Like EJ had his number. I don't know what he said, what he did, but there was a point EJ's holding his hands up. He walks around in the goal around the keeper. The keeper throws himself on the floor, and we're all like, bro, like you weren't even touched. Like the defender is literally shoving EJ. So there's all of that contact going on. And then to add to that, the keeper's like, we're like, what?
Yeah. It makes me wonder why Justin was talking about this a little bit online right before the show, why we just haven't seen more of EJ. I thought that EJ was an absolute pest in that first half and was doing a lot of that dirty work that you sometimes need your forwards to do, to just, we said it earlier this season where I forget who it was that we were playing. There was some forward and was constantly driving between our defenders, just making our guys backpedal. And EJ is the only guy that we have that I've seen do that. And I was a little bit stunned to see him pulled at halftime. Granted, Kenny comes in and scores, so it's hard to be like too stunned, but I definitely would like to see more of EJ moving forward.
No, I mean, I had kind of the same feeling. I'm like, I thought he was playing really well in the first half. Why did Bob pull him? Like, is it an injury? Was Bob just upset about something that he didn't do the way Bob wanted to do? No, Bob, I mean, he didn't say why he made the substitution per se, but he commended EJ during the post game and his movement, the way he was occupying defenders, right? So it wasn't, I think it was much more just a tactical decision rather than anything that EJ did or didn't do, right? Like,
keep EJ's goals inside EJ for the next game.
Makes sense. Liz commented that actually you guys got into the whole team in the second half. An Oakland player tossed a ball at her and Ariana. So
nice.
So
good job, fans.
I want to actually commend Oakland. Oakland's number 10. He was. I feel really bad for him. Quite honestly, he was the calming force on their team. there were several times where I don't even think he was a captain. I'm not sure. I haven't double checked it, but there were several times where players were trying to run into the ref, especially number 5, who, sorry, buddy, but you just got riled up too easy. But no, number 10 was like, no, get away. I don't care. Step away. And like the only reason Oakland, I think in the first half, Oakland didn't have a player sent off is their number 10. And they should thank him. They should thank him that they're not suspended their next game. So if you're from Oakland and you're watching, thank whoever number 10 is.
Lindo Mefeka?
Yeah, him. Sure.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That being said, as a
I don't care
Hounds
if you're
fan, darn you, number 10, stop calming your team down.
And I believe it was Rodriguez who threw the ball in frustration at the Steel Army.
Yeah.
Very few games we get under the player's skin, and obviously it helps when they're losing 5-0, coming into it thinking that they're hot stuff because they're in second place in the West and just beat Louisville. So coming in thinking they got this, and then suddenly they find themselves down by 5. And the other side of that, I mean, 0 goals let in. So kudos to the team for that as well. Getting a clean sheet on that type of scoreline is doubly impressive in my opinion, because that means our players were attacking, but yet still not letting anything in.
Yeah.
I mean,
if you look at our sort of just our attacking numbers real quick, I have them up on the screen for those watching. 5 goals to no goals. We got 12 shots to their 2. They ended up getting 0 shots on target. We had 7. We blocked 2 shots. They didn't block any. They had no shots inside the box. Obviously, their shooting accuracy was 0%. We had 58.3%. The one thing that was surprising to me was we only ended up with something like 38% of possession, which feels really low to me. But we've also talked about in the past how it seems like for whatever reason, the Hounds do better when they have less possession. It's more of a sort of sit, let the other team sort of dink and dunk around, and then you pounce and you go fast. And so that will be an interesting trend to watch. Anytime we have more of the possession, it almost feels like we're more likely to lose or draw than if we secede possession to the other team. Just all around a great performance. Guys, just if you could sort of sum up all of your feelings about this game in terms of just how you feel right now, whether it's you're really happy for this game and you're not thinking about anything else, or you're thinking about this game in the context of what happens next, or you're thinking about this game in the context of what's the whole season, just sort of in general, what is your headspace? Steve, how are you thinking about things as a result of a 5-0 win?
I mean, great for the team to experience that. It's a big win. It was a big mood booster, I think, for the guys, right? Like, I have to expect that really changes how they feel in the locker room. However, I need to see results week in and week out before I am like all aboard. We're back in the playoffs. We're going to make a run into the playoffs, right? Like, it's one win. And you're just talking about it, Mike, right? Like, we were able to do that because we had the space where we could move fast and exploit the weakness of the defense. If we get another team that is playing a really defensive game against us and has come out and score against us, that's where I think we're going to struggle. And so we've got to figure that out as well. But, hey, we was it 40 or 36% of our, 41% of our season goals. We multiplied our season goals by 41%. I think 36% of our goals were scored last night. Ooh. And that's great. We scored a lot of goals, right? Like, let's go. Like I said to Liz on last night, right? Like, let's go. 5-0 the rest of the season. I don't care. I feel great about that.
Yeah. Mondo, how about you?
This is our springboard. I want this to be, this is our shot heard around the league. This is the moment where we said to the league, I'm gonna quote, because it's July, and it's Bastille Day. It's not Independence Day, but it's close enough. We will not go quietly into the night. Okay, we will not vanish without a fight. And now we just need the rest of the movie to play out. But this is absolutely the one thing that I noticed is, in spite of all the pressure, especially after that first goal, there was so much more. After the first score, everybody relaxed. Like that was, and all of a sudden, Oakland could only possess the ball in their own half.
Yeah.
They might have had 60% of the possession, but it was in their half. Yeah. You can keep the ball there.
Yeah.
Sure. I have no problem with that. Even if we're playing against a team who hunkers down, we just showed we could pick apart a very, very good team that is attacking. We did the same thing to Detroit when we were still trying to figure things out. If we did that to Detroit when we're trying to figure things out, we've got to be. And I'm actually going to build on this. The last game, if you ignore the last minute of the last game, we had an equivalent or less defensive performance.
Yeah.
So the trend looks correct. Yeah. So we can say that, except for one mistake in 180 minutes, we have looked really solid. And that's good. I'll take that. And I want to see that extend over the rest of the season.
Yeah. Josh, how about you? Hold on. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah, I just want to say, I think a lot of us as fans saw that goal last week. We're like, what the heck, Sean? Bob talked about that, and it was one of the most disorienting moments of ever hearing Bob talk about a game or a play, because he was like, yeah, it was a mistake, but he didn't actually do anything wrong. He just expected the keeper to be a little bit closer, and the keeper was backtracking. Maybe he should have kicked it forward, but he didn't actually screw up. He just passed the ball to a 10-yard spot for the keeper instead of a 20-yard spot. That happens. And it was just such a weird thing, because I felt like that was a catastrophic mistake. And it was almost like Bob was like, yeah, Dick probably shouldn't have done that instead, which was weird to me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Josh, how you feeling?
Charitable Bob.
So going into this game, obviously everyone was really down. We were literally, I think, 44 minutes away from having the all-time scoreless record in the league, not scoring a goal in, I forget what the exact minutes were, but 44 minutes away from having the record that was previously held by Harrisburg, still currently held by Harrisburg, thankfully. So it was bleak. It was not good. There was talks of letting off a single red smoke bomb in the Steel Army section for that momentous occasion if we were to hit it. Cannot confirm or deny that there was actually a red smoke bomb available to do this with, but that's what, where we were. And to have that pressure gauge just released and to feel like the whole team just has that off their shoulders now. I have no doubt that this team can do this again. We needed to be proven that we could score. And that's what happened. And it happened a lot. So I something, Mondo, you said, this was the shot heard around the league. And this is it can be that. We have to continue this run. And if we have a 0-0 game next week, I think that is the regression. I'm not even saying we have to have a blowout game. I'm just saying we have to have goals. 3 points obviously would be nice. It's against Hartford. So that would be very nice to have. Yeah. But we got to rebuild for Highmark, and this was the first step there. And I feel like now that pressure's gone, this team can have performances like they did last week, where they did great. except for that last bit and getting the ball in the net. So if you compare this performance to last week's performance and realize, okay, if they can just actually get the goals that they should be getting, we're okay. And that's what this feels like. We're going to be okay.
And that seems to be the message internally too. I mean, talking to Rob Vincent, he sounded very confident. Just that, like, look, if you look at every other facet of the game, we're fine. And we're getting into positions where we should be scoring. So eventually they'll come. It felt a little naive when it was, 5 games, 6 games that we hadn't scored. So, like, yes, you could say that because you hope at some point they'll come. But until they come, you're like, yes. But, just to sort of put things in perspective, here's the current standings throughout the Eastern Conference. Yes, we won, but we're still in 10th place, 2 spots out of the playoffs. So, Mondo, to your point, this isn't, this means nothing if we don't build upon this. Yeah. So yes, okay, good. We got a big win. We're 4 points out of the playoffs. Up next, we have Hartford, and then we have Loudoun. Hartford currently sit beneath us. They basically have had 4 losses and a draw to make up, 3 losses and a draw to make up their last 4 games. I will say, doing a little bit of research on Hartford, those losses have basically been against, I want to say Louisville, Sacramento, and I forget the other one, but they've all been like 1-0 losses where they've given up the goal in the 90th minute. And one of the games they got in red card trouble. So, like, you can look at this on paper and be like, this will be a piece of cake. Let's get 3 more points against Hartford. But they're also putting together good performances and just not getting the results similar to us. So this game could be very interesting. But yeah, Bob talked a little bit about it in the press conference last night as well, where this game is only a turning point if you get to the end of the season and you look at it and say, oh yeah, it was a turning point. But otherwise, he said all that matters now is the next game. And you just have to keep building on it. And in retrospect, sure, it might be. But if we lose next week, it won't be. So we just have to keep it all in perspective. That's all. But for now, it's fun to, party because we haven't scored in 6 games and now we've got 5.
5.
Yeah.
We made up our goal difference.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're still at a negative goal differential. I believe we're at -4 right now. So, we still got some work to do there.
I would say if there was one thing that I could change about this game, we still did get 5 goals and none of them were from strikers. Like, I would love to see our strikers get involved somehow. But
okay, so I'm going to counter that. Our striker,
okay.
I feel like our strikers were involved because I would argue that Kenny was actually deployed as like a false second striker when he was up there. And secondly, for the first half of the game, if it hadn't been for the strikers doing their moves in and around the box, it wouldn't have allowed our midfielders to move up. I will say the penalty was a little bit soft. I'm going to throw that out there.
No.
I disagree.
It was a handball, but it was close to
the right way.
His arm was way up. Like, there's no way. Like, that's a handball. That's a penalty every single day.
I'm not going to complain.
It's not.
Okay,
it's
I'm
not
not going to complain.
It's not down. It's up. If his hand is up, you've got to call it. The ref made the right decision.
I'm not going to complain. It went our way. Okay, but that one was one that was like, okay, sure. But it gave us the momentum we needed. But that being said, yeah, our midfielders scored, our wingers scored. But Atu is essentially almost a forward with how he plays, right? Like he's basically bombing all the way up the flank. How many times have we seen him run along the goal line towards the goal, further forward than the strikers themselves? So, except for Suber, everybody who scored was essentially an attacking player.
Yeah. I'm not discounting the impact that the strikers had in terms of creating space and sort of doing the dirty work. I would just like to see them get a goal.
Break their own duck.
Exactly.
They were signed to score goals. They weren't signed to get assists or to make
I mean, listen,
I think one of them was signed to make space for other people to score goals.
Okay, fair. But other strikers probably.
If EJ contributes all season by getting under people's skin and allowing us to score goals, I will not complain in the slightest.
Yeah. Guys, anything else you want to add about this one?
That was a super short bob. We had a short bob.
Oh yeah, Bob's
Yeah,
at the end.
That was like
good
bye
game,
guys, thanks for playing kind of bob.
Yeah. I made the joke online that if we did give up a goal at the end, he'd probably keep him for 45 minutes. But
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I feel like even he knew that this was not the time to try to teach him lessons about that game. It's just like, nope, you guys need this. We had a victory. Okay, we didn't have a victory selfie. We had a victory photo with the entire team because we felt like it was not one person that needed a selfie.
The whole team deserved it.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you organize that? Just out of curiosity.
So they come over to do the clapping of the hands with the Steel Army, and usually that's when we single out a single player. Like, hey, you come back after they're done clapping hands for a victory selfie. When it's the entire team, usually we just tell Kenny or one of the more a captain or Kenny or whatever, and be like, get the whole team back when we're done. So they hurry up and come back. I believe it was it at 2 that
it was Junior. Junior's
at 2.
People's hands way far away. Everybody else is there.
Like halfway through the line before anybody realized he was I'm fairly certain he tapped me on the arm 4 or 5 times as he went through. Just hey, okay, bye.
So we're all waiting there for the victory selfie or the victory photo, and everyone just looking over, come on, come back. That's great.
That's funny. Well, good. Guys, as I mentioned, Hartford come to town next weekend. It will be a white-out, and the Hounds will unveil their third kit. Laura Ellen and I talked a little bit about the third kit in our previous show. I was curious, do you guys have any predictions or any hopes for what we might see? Steve, I'll start with you.
I have no idea. My hope is because it is Charlie, we will not get what MLS did a couple of years ago where every white jersey looked like a T-shirt with just a little bit of a color on the logo. I think it'll be something cool and interesting, but I have no idea how to even fathom what it could look like.
Josh shook his head at the cool and interesting bit. Josh, do you have any thoughts?
I haven't seen anything. I don't know anything, but I really do feel like it's just going to be a white kit. It might have a little bit of a design on it. I don't expect to be too taken aback by it. I'm already disappointed that our third kit's a white kit because the third kit's supposed to be the crazy one, the fun one. Although our first kit's the crazy and fun one. So maybe they're just making up for the fact that they, made our first kit what most people make their third kit.
I mean, watching this past game, I was thinking all along, the third kit will probably be a white kit. But then I realized we're playing at home. And most of the time when visiting teams come to us, they wear a light colored kit. So all because there's a whiteout in the stands, does that mean that the team is going to wear white, or will the team wear?
So last year, yes, except for a certain game where Detroit, I have words for you, Detroit, I can't say online, showed up in all white during our whiteout for the first round of the playoffs. So it looked like the entire stadium supported Detroit, which was great.
Tell us how you really feel.
No,
I'm joking. Don't.
Do I have paragraphs? Can I go on for an hour? Because I will. I actually jokingly told Jeff that I will not be wearing a white cape this season, and he was kind of sad. So I now have a whiteout cape, and for reasons that are totally not relating to me not being able to read dates, I did not wear my whiteout cape to the last game. That would be false. Allegedly. So I'll be wearing the same cape again. But I agree with Liz. I want blue hoops.
Ooh. I mean, I thought when I first heard whiteout, I thought maybe we would be wearing a throwback kit to the first season, where it's a white kit with a black stripe on one side and And well, even like collar, no collar, I don't care about that part. But I was more thinking like the white or the black stripe, and then like there was like black around the sleeves. Just it's kind of plain, it's kind of boring, but the fact that it is a throwback, and if they were to like put the red hound on there, like to really make it a throwback, that would sell. At least it would sell to the diehards. I don't know if regular fans would really care about that, but I got a feeling instead we're going to get something just like a white kit with a little bit of a design on it, and that'll be it. But
I have my white kit this side for from the Columbus game, and it's the previous seasons.
Yeah, that's the one I was wearing at the game. Actually, the last.
Oh no, this is the season before.
I know that's why I'm saying that's what I was wearing.
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought you had the gold one last night on.
No.
Oh, okay.
It was a white one.
Yeah. But like, I won't ever buy white because it's just gonna get dirty really easily. But if they do something that's retro and it's got a collar, man, that's gonna be hard not to buy.
I love blue hoop. I'm a sucker for hoops to begin with. But what I would love is blue vertical over the badge, white badge. Just white out the badge.
Oh, that'd be kind of cool. Yeah.
White kit, white out the badge, and just do the blue, just a blue vertical.
Why are we saying blue? Why? What? Because
like
that's
the original.
No,
the original was red. It was red and then blue and then yellow.
Oh, so the red came before. Okay, so red. Do a red horizontal then, or a vertical rather. Heck, go double retro. Red and blue. just two vertical bars, red and blue.
Get sashes opposite ways, each color.
Right.
So, I would have loved
Deadpool themed. It'll be a Deadpool themed jersey.
It would be cool.
Keep going off the rails, Mike. Shut us down.
White top half, and then the bottom half of hoop sashes.
This is what a game like last night does to us.
Right.
Imagine if it was a theme tie-in to Deadpool and Wolverine, and it was some like
has the red,
crazy
has the
combo.
yellow.
Yeah.
Wait, does that mean that Ryan Reynolds and or
listen, Rob McElhenney, or Hugh Jackman? Yeah.
Listen, if any of the three want to invest in the Hounds,
well, did you see? This is totally off the rails. Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney now bought a team in Mexico, and they're doing a spin-off series about like bringing that team up the ranks in Mexico. And there's other, like I think Ava Longoria is invested. Like there's a bunch of people invested in this team, but this is becoming a thing. And I'm like, why won't you do this in America? And it's like, because there's no pro rel. There's no like
exactly. You can't invest in the team and get it up. I guess you could invest in the team and then just buy your franchise right, which is kind of lame.
And
plus,
make as good of television though. There's no drama to that.
And there's no way because McElvin or whatever McElhenney. How do you say his name?
McElhenney.
McElhenney. He's a Philly guy. He can't buy a Pittsburgh team. Philly guy.
True.
Like that would be impossible.
So we need Joe Manganiello.
There you go.
Jeff Goldblum.
Right. Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yes.
That would be a weird show.
That would be brilliant.
I
would watch that.
They just kick the ball. That's what they do.
Could you imagine Jeff Goldblum and Bob at a press conference? Listen here next week, waiting for them to finish.
We are totally off the rails, but Jeff Goldblum, I don't know if they had a Jeff Goldblum day in Pittsburgh. There was something that he came back for. I think it was a tattoo parlor was having a Jeff Goldblum day where people got free tattoos of Jeff Goldblum, and he came back and got a tattoo of himself, or he gave a tattoo to some girl of himself. So, like, we can make this happen. Like, he can be swayed by
Michael
gifts.
Keaton, I think, would be cooler, just because then you have Deadpool and Batman buying teams.
Yes.
So Michael Keaton, that'd be kind of
Michael
cool.
Keaton, yeah. We need to make that happen. Okay, that is obviously what we think. Let us know what you think. We will be having an insider show this week with our buddy Pesh from Hartford, so we will get the latest on what's happened with them since they last beat us 2-0. Like I said, we know some of the details, but it'll be interesting to get the inside scoop from someone that is actively watching the team. Otherwise, I think that's it for this one. Thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. Be sure to subscribe and like the show wherever you're watching or listening to this. And as always, we will be back with more Riverhounds content very, very soon.
Later.
See ya.
Oh, this is the way.